Everybody, welcome back to Behind the Book, Unpacking Black Financial Culture, Building Wealth from the Inside Out. I'm your host and author of the book, Michael Thomas. And if you haven't picked up a copy of the book, you can grab it anywhere books are sold online. And if you happen to be crypto curious, you can actually purchase a copy of the book utilizing blockchain technology through a company called book.io. So one of the things that I wanted to discuss today is this notion of self-love, self-compassion, forgiveness of self, right? Kindness of self as you just navigate life in general. And I wanted to be very intentional at the start of the book to lean into this notion or idea of self-compassion. And why that's so incredibly important is that I do believe that there are instances where we must have grit and we must persevere through very difficult times. We must kind of engage in this process of digging really deep in order to navigate certain obstacles that may come our way. My issue, though, is that I don't believe personally that grit is the only way in which someone can deal with hard things and navigate difficult spaces. I also believe that kindness to self is just as important, no different than, let's say, if you're out and about and you're having a conversation with a friend or a loved one and you say something kind of off the mark that you didn't really mean, but you kind of laugh at yourself and they're like, hey, did I really say that? I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to say that. This is what I meant to say. And not taking yourself seriously, not internalizing that you are a mistake, but rather you made a mistake in the process can allow for someone to stay the course, stay on task, and to achieve the goal that they were hoping to during that conversation, which was to connect with someone and not to allow a misstep to derail the way that they think about themselves or the way that the person that they're speaking to may perceive them or think about them, to bring some lightheartedness and some levity into the conversation. Incredibly important, right? So just as much as grit is a part of the conversation, compassion or self-compassion should be a part of the conversation as well. So in chapter 1, basically making the main thing, which ultimately is that you are the main thing. As you're navigating your financial wellness journey, if you are not the best version of you, none of this goes. None of it goes. None of it happens in the way that you may be hoping for it to happen. So, for instance, let's say that you're dealing with, or someone is dealing with, some unresolved trauma or issues that haven't been addressed. And even though you're making good money when you're under duress and stress, you have some adaptive responses to that stress that are maladaptive in the season that you're in. And basically meaning that your coping mechanism is a negative coping mechanism that even though you make good money per se, but when you're stressed and a lot of things are going on, you lean into something that's suboptimal as it relates to your finances. So, and this is precisely how you can have individuals amass a lot of money and still feel empty, still feel broken. Even though I don't believe that humans inherently are broken regardless, but the feeling of brokenness is a very real thing, where the money then ultimately just becomes a conduit to something that I feel that is going to fill my internal deficits that I have. So how can someone effectively navigate this process feeling empty and trying to use money to fill that emptiness when money actually can't fill the emptiness. It can't fill the void, right? And so you can have someone who feels empty and has a lot of money, and it just kind of goes into this endless pit of more. And then we see something on the news or whatever it may be about how someone's gone broke or how someone's done X or someone's done Y. And we're sitting here contemplating like how could that possibly have happened? This person had all this money. Money's not the main thing. You are. So when we navigate a process of prioritizing ourselves and engaging in self-love and self-compassion and grace and learning how to deal with difficult situations with adaptive responses that are healthy adaptive responses to stress and so on and so forth, we position ourselves not only to acquire more, but to have those things and then keep those things so that our wealth is sustainable over time and we don't get in the way of our progress. Incredibly important. So I lead in that first chapter with that notion of basically you are the main thing. I say it here. Say it with me. I am the main thing. Say it again. I am the main thing. And then I go on to say that despite spending precious time and money on material possessions to satisfy ourselves, we often end up feeling empty inside. Rather than examining this feeling of emptiness, many of us resort to doubling down, similar to gamblers in a casino, hoping to achieve a rush of euphoria from the next dopamine hit. We may go all out to feel good, only to experience fleeting moments of happiness before falling further into the bottomless pit of wanting more. The only remedy to this endless cycle of wanting more is to realize that we as individuals are enough. So as you're navigating this book, we're not just jumping into concepts and ideas and notions about money. It's how you experience it. It's how you internalize it. Where do those things come from? How do they make you feel? And then how do you behave as a result? All right. And in understanding your entire cycle as it relates to your financial experience so that you can go in and possibly reprogram the way that you think about things, think about different ways in which you can reframe, use different language, consider different responses to a stimulus. But the whole point of this is that you're in control and you have power to a certain extent if we engage in a process where we can kind of externalize these things and not engage in self-shame, but rather self-compassion. And I have this theory that if we prioritize us and healing and personal growth, that ultimately we create this type of space where money, like a current, like something that's flowing, can flow freely to us and freely from us in a healthy way. So again, chapter 1 really focuses on this notion that money isn't the main thing. You are. And I don't care how long it takes. I'm going to keep coming back to that point as we continue to have these conversations, because if you don't go, nothing else goes. So let's make the main thing, and that's you. And to do it with self-grace, self-compassion, and self-love. So until next time, know that you have more power than you think. Own it. Stay blessed. Bye.